Hi guys! I'm surprising y'all with a second doll this month. Usually I only put up one doll per month since that gives me more time to collect materials and come up with ideas, but when I saw Dollightful's invitation to be in her tropical doll collab, I knew I had to push myself and join this collab. So tropical, huh? That's a wide range of possibilities, but it's summertime and my mind has been on beaches and vacation, so how about a cute girl to go on vacation? I hopped on Pinterest and found some inspiration. I love this cute hairstyle with poofy bangs and maybe a head wrap. Someone said that it gave them retro vibes, so I leaned into that pretty heavily. Before we get started on the doll, please take a moment to subscribe to my channel. I'm still a small channel, so it means a lot to me. I'm gonna use a Claudine for this. Bright colors will look really lovely against her dark skin. And I love her face mold, so she's perfect for this project. To take off her head, I pour boiling water into a small cup and dunk her in, letting her soak for about 30 seconds till her head becomes soft enough to tug off the neck peg. Next, wiggle a chopstick around inside of the head to pull out chains of glue, then use a pair of pliers to yank all the glue chunks out. Then using 100% acetone, wipe off the factory paint using spinning and scooping motions. I was actually doing the face-up for Asteria, my last doll, when Dollightful issued her invitation, so I sort of panicked and tried to do the face at the same time as Asteria's. I've only drawn two faces at once before, and I think I was just not in the zone that day because I ended up really disliking this face. Mostly I think it was the pupils. They're just way too dark against the bright sunset eye color I was going for, and they look sort of creepy. The makeup I tried didn't work out either. I wanted to do this really cool shift of orange to hot pink, but my pastels just weren't up to the job, and I tried to layer up with my pencils, but the humidity had spiked and yeah, I don't like it. So I took a step back and forced myself to calm down a little and put a little more thought into the doll. So let's start with the bag. I really wanted a cute pineapple-shaped bag, something that would look a little cartoony like a novelty bag. I start by drawing a pineapple shape onto some stiff paper. This was actually a paper shopping bag, and cut it out. Then I painted the leaves in a nice green color, and the body of the pineapple in a soft yellow. I tried freehanding some orange lines, and that's probably where I ran into mistake number one. When I glued the bag onto a long strip of paper to make the body of the bag, that's where I ran into mistake number two. It just didn't work with the pineapple shape, so I figure I could just glue the pineapple to the front of a simple circle shape and, well, let's switch back over the pineapple. I cover it with a piece of packing tape to protect the paint and also give it the appearance of shiny vinyl. Then I attached it to the circle and, yeah, it looks pretty awful, doesn't it? I was attempting to follow a Dollightful tutorial where she made a paper bag in her budget custom video. I'm not sure where I messed up exactly, but I definitely failed on that bag. Maybe I'll fix it later. Well, let's switch back to the doll. I had taken a little more time at this point to think about what I wanted to do and actually had a plan. I start by wiping her face and rooting her with yarn hair. Oh no, I missed a huge spot. Kidding. I'm actually going to leave all of that place empty because I'm going to be pulling her hair up into a French braid in the back. If you try and root the whole head with hair on this scale, when you try and make a braid, there's just too much volume for the hair to lay naturally. So if you're planning on a hairstyle like this, just do the hairline and you'll be more than covered. I take a cheap mannequin doll and strap it to the doll stand. Then weigh that down with a big old rock from outside. For this hairstyle, section off a piece of hair as big as you want the bangs to be. I'm going to tie a piece of scrap yarn around it so I'll be able to pull it out later. Once that's done, start braiding the hair while slowly pulling in pieces from around the hairline. I literally just learned French braiding for this video, so if you need more instruction, try YouTube videos and crying. That's how I got it done. Once your braid is looking the way you like it, use the scrap piece of yarn to pull the bangs out. Normally with this hairstyle, you'd shape the bangs into a big roll and then secure it with bobby pins, but there are no bobby pins small enough for doll scale. So how do you secure the bangs in place? Well, the first step is to pull the bangs out using that scrap piece of yarn. Now using your reroot tool, start pushing down into the head. This will force numerous points of contact with the scalp and set your little roll in place. It does mean that this hairstyle is permanent, but that's not usually an issue for oak dolls. Not bad! Put some glue into the head for extra security, but it shouldn't go anywhere since the yarn is such a puffy fiber. I wrapped up her hair off camera and prepared her with a layer of MSC. While that's drying, let's blush the body. I did quite a bit of blushing on this doll since she's going to be wearing a beachy outfit that shows lots of skin. For the makeup, I really wanted a bright lip color, like a red to go with the sort of retro hair, so I'm putting on a layer of red pastels much earlier than I normally would. Generally on the lips I go for subdued shades, like a little dusting of pink or red, something that looks more natural, but this time I really wanted it to look like the doll is wearing lipstick, and a bright shade at that, so that means layering pastel and pencil over and over in an attempt to get a saturated color. From there I add some rosy cheeks, a little contour, and some shading around the eyes. I'm putting on the brows a little differently than usual this time. I make 3 very light dots, one for the front of the brow, one at the arch, and a third at the tail. Then once I'm happy with the placement of those dots, I use the flat of my brush to lay down the lines of the hair. I gotta say, I'm a big fan of this method. I think it really helped me keep the brows very symmetrical and a little more shapely than I usually make them. Next, I fill in the eye whites with my General's chalk pencil. And add another layer of lipstick. For the irises, I wanted to do a fun sunset sort of gradient, something magical and bright, so I'm starting with a bright yellow base. From there, I darken the lash line and give her a little cat eye flick, add more lipstick, and finally switch back to the eyes. I jump around in my face-ups a lot. On the eyes, I add a dark orange circle around the iris, then shade the top and one side with orange, leaving a strip of yellow at the bottom of the iris to act as the lightest color. I spent quite a bit of time trying to layer up these colors, but my pencils were just not having it. It's been pretty hot and humid here for the last few weeks, so I just don't think that my MSC was up to all the humidity in the air. I gave up at this point and ended up using my brush by picking up pigment straight off the pencils. Let's add some white highlights to the eyes, gloss her eyes and lips, and the face is finished. Now let's see how her hair fared under the wrap. Not too bad, just gotta poke it back into place a little. And carefully put her head back on. Squeeze the temples so you don't crack all the layers of MSC. There. For the outfit, I wanted something very beachy and summery, so I'm thinking a bustier and a skirt with a high slit, and of course a head wrap. I freehanded the bustier pattern onto a piece of paper and cut out a rough skirt and head wrap shape from a cheap bit of fabric to make a prototype. I wasn't sure about the bustier, so I made that with my fabric as a prototype. Yeah, that looks cute. Might want to change where I cut the bustier from though, you can't see much of the pattern. Using those pieces, I cut out the shapes on my patterned fabric, being sure to leave a good amount of seam allowance around the edges. Then I cut the darts out of the bustier and start gluing the hem down. I usually opt to glue down hems these days. I think it looks a lot neater than sewing it down, especially since I'm still terrified of my sewing machine. Then I hand sew the head wrap closed. It's really a simple pattern, just a big long rectangle with pointed ends. I turn the whole thing right side out, then carefully sew this open end closed using a ladder stitch so that you won't see the thread. Repeat my gluing trick with the skirt. And my clothes are pretty much finished. I did opt to paint her nails for this custom, which is a first for me. Usually I just leave the nails bare, but I think this gives the doll an extra layer of detail. I'm pulling out all the stops for Dollightful. In fact, for the shoes I'm using a Dollightful tutorial. She does these shoes in Sakura's video, I believe. First, grab your 2-part epoxy and mix up 2 equal-sized chunks. I like to grab 2 balls and make sure they're about the same size before I mix them up. I think that's the easiest way to tell if you have equal amounts. Okay, so Dollightful says to just take a mold of your doll's foot. That shouldn't be too hard. I sewed the elastic cuff and ribbon off camera, then you just glue it to the bottom of the shoe. Except for, I think she used an air dry clay and I'm using epoxy. I don't want the color to show through, so I'm actually gonna glue a piece of fabric to the bottom in a matching color. For the strap over the toe, I'm opting for a length of braided embroidery thread. I just glue that in place, then cover up the ends by wrapping the shoe in more thread. Once the shoe is totally covered, I laid down more braided thread over the edge of the shoe to cover the raw edges. And one more bit around the sole, why not? They came out really cute. I did come back off camera and make a new bag, and with that, she's finished. Let's dress her up. Her name is Valarie Vashon. She came out really cute. I love her retro hair and her little head wrap. I don't usually make bags for my dolls, so I'm pretty happy with how the pineapple bag came out in the end. And the skirt is just so light and summery. Character design is pretty hard for me. I usually spend quite a lot of time thinking about how I want the doll to look. So doing it all in less than 2 weeks was quite a push for me. But I really wanted her to be finished in time for both Dollightful's video and my own channel's schedule. All things considered, I think she came out pretty good. What do you think? A huge thank you to Dollightful for giving us all the chance to do a collab with her. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. I put out a new video every other Thursday. You can follow me on Instagram for more behind the scenes stuff and sneak peeks. Thank you so much for watching, and bye for now!